Let's go through the final question, question 7 together here. We have of the 1875 undamaged pin oak acorns tested in the study, the number of those acorns that were cached by squirrels was closest to which of the following? So this time we're looking at undamaged pin oak, right? So if we look at undamaged pin oak, that's over here. So what are we looking for? We're looking for cached. So cached, 24%. So the actual calculation that we're looking for is 1875 times 0.24, right? This would be 24% of 1875. And definitely you can do this. Let me just go ahead and do it. So just do the multiplication, carry the 2, what is that, 28, 0, 3, 32, 35, 4, 7, and then we have 0, 0, 1, 14, 15, 1, 16, 17, 1, 2, 3, to get 450. Answer is definitely B. Definitely you can do this, for sure, especially if your arithmetic's quick, right? But, even for me, just to save like the 30 seconds, that took a little bit longer than I'd like. I would probably do something like 1900 times 0.25. Yeah, so a quarter of this, so this would be 1900 divided by 4. This is going to be 4, 16 minus 3, 30. It's going to be 7, 28, 205. Yeah, for B, right? Yeah, it's a little bit faster to do a quick estimate. So here, like, it definitely, if I do an estimate like this, it's going to be a little bit higher than I want, right? Obviously 1900 is slightly higher than 1875, and then 25% is slightly higher than 24%. But, why did I do this? The math is just easier, and then, I get 475, and I'm looking for an answer probably slightly lower than 475, but here you can really see that this is what the ACT wants you to do. They actually give you this number, not this number, right? Am I making sense? Yeah, so definitely, if you're quick with the arithmetic, feel free to do the actual calculation, and then here you need to recognize they ask which one of these answer choices is closest to what you got. But here, you can tell from the answer choices that they actually want you to do this. They want you to round up to 1900, and then instead of using 24%, you use 25%. That's the same as dividing by 4, right? The math becomes a little bit easier, and it saves, depending on how quick your math is, it can save quite a bit of time. All right, that's the science test. You definitely have to move very, very quickly. You have 35 minutes, 40 questions, less than a minute per question, right? Really, really stressful section as far as the time limit goes, but hopefully you'll see as the week goes on. As far as the difficulty of the questions, they're pretty straightforward. They tell you to look at certain tables. They ask you to read the description. Just go ahead and identify the correct information, right? I would say the science test, you really want to think about it as a reading comprehension test with charts. That's really what it comes down to. Math test. The math test, so the science test, hopefully everyone in here will improve very, very quickly in the science test, right? Definitely, in these classes, the science scores of my students tend to rise pretty rapidly. In the math test, one of the students earlier today said that they're really solid in the algebra, and it's just the geometry that they need help on. That's a good place to be. Definitely the geometry, I can help you. Once you see the equations, you memorize them, you practice it a couple times, definitely you'll improve right away, right? But if you are the type of kid that struggles with algebra or arithmetic, at this point, you have to just drill it. If you struggle with the arithmetic or the algebra, there is no other option. There is no other way to improve your math score. You have to practice your arithmetic and algebra. Definitely, if you're at a level where if you just work through the problems, your algebra is at least at a level where you can practice it here. Definitely that's a good place to be as well. But for a lot of kids, they're just really bad at adding fractions, multiplying, algebra. If that's you, definitely you just need to grind it, right? Go to Khan Academy. Do the systems of equations. Whatever you struggle with, right? Systems of equations. Definitely this is a great one to practice. You just need to grind these. Just get to a point where you can do 50 of these questions in a row. Every time you get them correct, that's where you want to be. Even if you cannot get to a point where all 50 questions are correct, just be better than today, right? Honestly, that's what it comes down to. I'm not asking you guys to suddenly get a perfect score, right? I just need you to be, by the end of this week on Friday, I need you to be better at math than you are today, right? And that's going to take some practice, for sure. Practice this stuff. If this is what you struggle with, definitely do that. Substitution, you solve for x, you replace the x, and then you do the algebra, right? And then, what's really excellent about Khan Academy is if you get the questions wrong, you can just like ask for help, right? And they have like incredibly detailed explanations on how to do every single question, and then they have all sorts of videos to help you if you need that, right? This is honestly, if you can't do this, there's no way you're getting a good score in the ACT. You just have to learn this. There's no other option. For some kids, like, this is even too much, right? If you just struggle with like adding fractions, right? If this is what you struggle with, don't be embarrassed. Yeah, definitely tons of kids just can't add fractions. Just practice it, right? You have to learn it. You have to get the common denominators, you add them together, and definitely also the Khan Academy has great illustrations, videos explaining how to do all that stuff. Absolutely learn it. Absolutely learn it, right? At this point, like, especially for the math, it just comes down to like how dedicated are you? Like how bad do you actually want to go to that college, right? Like, if you actually want to go to that college, you need to like block out some time during your day to make your math solid, for sure. And it absolutely sucks, right? Especially if you hate math, but I think the correct mentality here is, if you want to go to a decent college or even a great college, right? You want to demonstrate to these colleges that you're ready to work hard, you care about your academics, regardless of how hard the material is, you're ready to put in time to learn that stuff, right? And definitely I would say the best way to do that is do the math. Yeah, definitely. For sure. Like, hopefully, that's why you're going to college, right? Hopefully you realize, like, there's a lot of reasons to go to college, but hopefully one of the main reasons is so that you can learn very, very difficult skills that most people don't have. You should expect to work very hard there. And definitely the easiest way to demonstrate that you're ready to work hard at college is to show everyone that you're working hard now, right? Absolutely. Definitely, this is why, like, your ACT score, your SAT scores, they matter. It's a chance for you to demonstrate that you care about academics, that you're willing to improve. Obviously, this stuff's not easy, but that's why it's impressive. That's why people care about the score. If it were easy, it wouldn't matter. Okay, let me go ahead and demonstrate the first 10 questions here. Absolutely, I think that anyone can get to a point where they can get the first 10 questions correct every single time. If you're not there, definitely that's where you should start. If you struggle with the first 10 problems of the ACT, again, go back to this page, right? Hopefully everyone bookmarked this one. You just open up all of them, download all 11 practice tests, work through questions 1 through 10, starting from the first one all the way down to the last one, right? Hopefully by the time you get to like the third test, you're at a point where you're nailing all 10 questions every single time, well under the time limit. Definitely, that's where you need to start. Because I would say, of the 4, the ramp up in difficulty is the most pronounced in the math test. You have 60 minutes, 60 question, 1 minute per question. If you're missing any of the questions 1 through 15, you basically have a 0% chance of getting any of the questions after 30 correct. Honestly, definitely, like, a lot of kids get really hung up on the hard questions, right? They want to focus on, I just want to like learn how to do the hard ones. You're never going to get the hard ones until your basics are set. This is like an unfortunate reality of math. I would say, like, writing, grammar, reading comprehension, science, even all that stuff's different, right? Like, you can start with the hard stuff and just learn that material, but in math, if your basic algebra, if your arithmetic is off, like, there's no way you can like, math is one of those skills where you have to build one step at a time. Absolutely. Okay, let's go ahead and work through the first 10 questions here together, and then I'll have you guys work through the first 10 questions in the 2020 test. Question 1. A weekly fee for staying at Pleasant Lake Campground is $20 per vehicle and $10 per person. Last year, weekly fees were paid for V vehicles and P persons. Which of the following expressions gives the total amount in dollars collected for weekly fees last year? Well, if it's $20 per vehicle, we're looking for 20V. If it's $10 per person, we're looking for 10P. And then to get the total price, we're just adding them together, right? Simple. Free. If that doesn't make sense, please ask, right? Let's talk about it. If any of these questions don't make sense, let's just talk about it until they make sense, right? I'm willing to, like, if we need to, like, cover just the first 10 questions for the next hour, like, I'm willing to do that. Whatever you need to improve, right? I'm, like, for sure. Like, this is my job. Like, I've been doing this for, like, 5 years now, pretty long time. Like, whatever you need, I'm willing to help you. Because honestly, I think for most students, honestly, I care about your ACT score more than you care about your ACT score. Why, right? Because, like, if you improve your ACT score, nice, your college application becomes stronger. Definitely, it can be life-changing, right? If you get, like, improve your score by, like, a solid 5 points. But I would say, if you improve your ACT score, guess what else happens, right? I get more work. I get to pay rent. Yeah, I get to eat food. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more personal for me because like if you guys don't improve, guess what happens to me? Yeah, if you guys don't improve your ACT, it's not a big deal, right? You just send your college applications anyway. Yeah, just maybe you don't get into your favorite school. But for me, like if you guys don't improve, I don't get to eat. Question 2. So here we have r equals 9, b equals 5, 6 equals negative, g equals negative 6, and then we have this expression, right? Definitely the most common question in the ACT math section for sure. Yeah, they give you an expression, they give you some numbers, guess what they want you to do? They want you to plug in the numbers into the expression, right? Yeah, definitely. I say like a lot of silly things, but it's because for a lot of students, this is what they need to hear. Yeah, if in a standardized math test, if they give you an expression or equation and then they give you some numbers, 99% of the time, what they want you to do is just go ahead and plug the numbers into the equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. 9 plus 5 is 14, minus 6, that's plus 6, that's 20. No, what, 13, 14? 11? Yes, 20. This one, b plus g, 5 minus 6, that's negative 1. Correct answer is negative 20 for F. Very nice. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, so you plug in the numbers, you do the math. I'm getting 20 times negative 1, that's definitely negative 20. Question 3. A copy machine makes 60 copies per minute. A second copy machine makes 80 copies per minute. The second machine starts making copies 2 minutes after the first machine starts. Both machines stop making copies 8 minutes after the first machine started. Together, the two machines made how many copies? Yeah, for this type of question, you just immediately want to get your calculator, right? And definitely, everyone should have their calculator, right? Yeah, you're taking like a math prep course, bring your calculator. Yeah, don't be using your iPhone. Please don't use your iPhone. So here, I would do 60 times 8. So the first machine runs for 8 minutes, makes 60 copies per minute. Very simple, right? Yeah, so the second machine runs for 6 minutes, right? Yeah, 8 minus 2. Oh, so here we do 80 times 6. Go ahead and add those together. I guess I'll just multiply by 2 here. Correct answer is 960, right? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, don't be intimidated, yeah, especially the first 10 questions. They're so simple. Yeah, use your calculator, read the questions carefully, work quickly. It's free. 4. Marlon is bowling in a tournament that has the highest average after 5 games with scores 210, 225, 254, 231, and 280. In order to maintain this exact average, what must be Marlon's score for his 6th game? Okay. Let's just go ahead and start by calculating the average that Marlon has now. So we have 210, and hopefully, you guys will follow along. Maybe you guys can even do this faster than I can. The on-screen calculator, mega pain. Hopefully everyone can see the calculator, right? Hopefully there are no technical issues. Divide that by 5. And then here, maybe you can just tell the correct answer is J. Yeah, so if your average right now is 240, hopefully you realize if you get a 240 again, your average won't change, right? But if you ever are not sure, you can actually just work backwards from the answers. And definitely, obviously improving your algebra, improving your arithmetic, being quicker at the calculator, obvious ways to improve your test score. But I would say the fastest way for most students to improve their ACT math score is to learn to work backwards from the answers, right? And here's like a really easy example. Yeah, so here, the total so far is 1,200. If I add J, and then I divide that by 6 games total now, the average stays the same, right? Intuitively, hopefully this also makes sense. If you have an average of 240, if you get a 240 for the final game, well, your average will stay at a 240. If you don't get a 240, the average is going to change, right? That's how averages work. If you didn't know, I just showed you how it works. That's what's nice about math, right? If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. It's just the way it is. Thankfully, the ACT doesn't test you on whether you understand it. All the ACT cares about is like, can you do it? Can you circle the correct answer? Can you fill in the correct bubble? Question 5. Joelle earns her regular pay of 7. Yeah, definitely you want to be really good at these, right? Yeah, definitely. This question is probably the most common question type in the ACT. Is it here? She makes $7.50 an hour. Really unfortunate scenario. She works 40 hours per week, and then for overtime, so every hour they work over 40 hours, they get overtime. They get paid 1.5 times her regular pay. How much does Joelle earn in a week when she works 42 hours, right? And definitely, like, you want to be good at these types of calculations. I promise you, you know many people who do these calculations every week, because you got to keep track of how much money you're making. Yeah, so let's start by calculating how much she makes in her regular time, right? So she works full time, 40 hours, $7.50 an hour. She made $300 in 40 hours, right? And then here she also worked 2 hours of overtime, right? Hopefully this makes sense. Yeah, 42 minus 40 is 2. She worked 2 hours of overtime. How much money does she make during overtime? 1.5 times 7.5. She makes this much money on overtime work, $11.25. Let's multiply that by the 2 hours that she worked overtime. So in overtime she made 22.5. So we do 240 plus 22.5. That's the total amount of money she made that week. Very straightforward, right? She made what did I do wrong? Oh, I had the wrong. Where did I get 240? Oh, that was the. Oh my god. That was the bowling score. Okay. So this is another great tip. Yeah, so sometimes you're going to run into a situation where your answer doesn't match any of the answer choices, right? Here you need to recognize that something went wrong. What went wrong for me? I accidentally used this number instead of this one. Yeah, this was the bowling number. Really unfortunate scenario. Don't do that. But also very important to recognize that when you're making a mistake. Absolutely, the correct answer is actually C. How is it that Joelle is getting through life making $322 a week? I have no idea. Well, very impressive. Hopefully she has a rich husband. $6. Which of the following mathematical expressions is equivalent to the verbal expression a number x squared is 39 more than the product of 10 and x? Okay. Let's try that. Another very common question type. So x squared is 39 more than 10 times x, right? The product of 10 and x. This is K. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking like they're probably going to want us to rearrange the question, right? No, they don't even ask us to do that. It's just exactly what I wrote down. Right? Number x squared, it is. Yeah, so I think if you struggle with these, really what it comes down to, you have to recognize that the equal sign math means that it is. Yeah, like so x squared is 39 more than the product of 10 and x. That's another way of saying the equal sign. 39 more, 39 plus, product of 10 and x, that's 10 times x. Easy. Here we have some basic algebra. How do we do this one? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so obviously most of you should be able to do this algebraically, right? But just, I think it's good to practice working backwards from the answers on the easy ones, because definitely you're going to run into questions where you can't solve it algebraically later, right? But you want to be able to work backwards from the answers in the hard questions. You need to understand how to work backwards from the easy questions to figure out how to work backwards from the harder questions, right? So here, how do you do that? Very, very simple. You just start with A. What are we looking for? We're looking for negative 11. A is not the correct answer. Let's try B, right? This looks like the correct answer to me. No, it's not. Unfortunate. Is it C? No. It must be D. So here, hopefully everyone can see what's happening, right? I'm just like taking the answers, I'm literally just plugging them in for x and seeing what happens. What am I looking for? I'm looking for negative 11, right? I want, whatever I plug in for x, I want to get negative 11. What? How is this possible? I guess the correct answer is E. Surprising, very surprising. I did not expect that. Correct answer is E. Let's go ahead and solve it algebraically, right? So if we have 9 times x minus 9 equals negative 11, divide both sides by 9 to get x minus 9, 9's cancel, equals negative 11 over 9. And then I add 9 to both sides. X equals negative 11 over 9 plus 9. Yeah, definitely you can do this by hand if you want. So we have negative 11 over 9. What is 9? Well, 9 is going to be 81 over 9, right? 81 minus 11, that's 70 over 9. Or, definitely, another thing that you can absolutely do is just use your calculator. Negative 11, hopefully everyone will follow along. Negative 11 over 9 plus 9. And then this is probably the most important button on the calculator. You definitely want to get used to this. If you're using an 84 plus CE, so this is a very common scenario, right? We have an answer. Maybe you can tell for this one. This one's not too bad, right? When we're looking for a positive number, definitely E is the only positive number. You can, by the process of elimination, you can just pick E already. But a really phenomenal function on the 84 plus CE, you hit the math button. First option is arrow fraction, right? Enter, enter. The calculator can convert the decimal to a fraction. Definitely get used to that one. Definitely write that down, right? Math, enter, enter. You can convert decimals into fractions. Definitely, if you're using something other than a TI-84 CE, just let me know, right? Another very popular one is like the X32 calculator, right? I think it's like S32X or whatever. One of these. Very common calculator. Definitely most scientific calculators, I would say all scientific calculators have this button, right? So like, Amazon, give me a higher res. What is this? You're worth like $10 billion and can't afford a higher resolution picture of the calculator. Really unfortunate scenario. Is this the exact same page? Are you going to force me to use Google Images for this? Really unfortunate scenario. Okay, so if you have one of these, right? The button that you're looking for is this one. So you want to hit second table, right? This is the F arrow D. This was the button that's going to convert. If you're on a scientific calculator, this is the button that you're looking for, F arrow D. And it'll do the same thing. Very, very nice. Very, very important. Saves a ton of time. Okay, question 8. Discount tickets to a basketball tournament sell for $4 each, and Rico spent $60 on discount tickets, $37.5 less than if he had bought the tickets at the regular price. What was the regular price of the ticket? Okay, very interesting. So if he spent $60 on tickets, right? How many tickets did he buy? So we can do 60 divided by 4 because each discount ticket sells for $4 each. So he bought 15 tickets. So what are they saying? They're saying some price, let's call it X, some price times 15 tickets is going to be 60 plus 37.5, right? So definitely, this is the hard part, right? So this is some price, 15 tickets, and that's going to be $60 plus 37.5 because they said Enrico spent $60. If he had bought them at regular price, it would have been 37.5 more, right? The discount price was 37.5 less than if he had bought the price at the regular price. And we had to do a quick calculation here. 60 divided by 4 is 15. Now we can solve for X. Let's just use the calculator. 60 plus 37.5. This is going to be 97.5. Divide that by 15. I'm getting $6.50 for each. These are some cheap tickets. Interesting. Here they want us to FOIL. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. So let's just go ahead and FOIL here. We have 3x minus 4y squared times 3x plus 4y squared. So here, it can be a little intimidating because maybe you're not used to FOILing with like y squared, but it's the same as before. So we do the front, that's 9x squared. We do the outside, that's going to be 12xy squared. Let's do the inside, that's minus 12. Negative 4 times 3 is minus 12, and then we have xy squared again. These actually cancel. And then we do the last. This is going to be negative 16y to the 4th, right? Y squared times y squared is y to the 4th. So we're looking for 9 squared minus 16y to the 4th. Answer is A. Answer answer is A. And then question 10, rectangle, we have some geometry finally, right? Rectangle has an area of 32 square feet and a perimeter of 24 feet. What is the shortest side in length in feet of the rectangle? Okay. Okay. So we have like width, length. So length times width is equal to 32. And then 2 length plus 2 width is equal to 24. Definitely you can like guess and check, right? Yeah, let's actually do that. Yeah, so definitely, like, we have the if you're quick with the algebra, definitely you can like do the substitution, solve for everything, blah blah blah, solve for W. But here, I definitely think the easier way to solve this one is like, let's say, I think the answer is going to be 3. I don't know. My gut feeling says 3. So if the width is 3, right? So if this is 3, if this is 3, that means this is 3, right? So that would be 6. 32 minus 6, no, perimeter is 24. 24 minus 6 would be 18, so this would be 9 and 9. That's actually not correct. Yeah, so 3 times 9 is 27, so it must be like 4. So if we have 4 and 4, that would be 8. Perimeter, that would mean that it's 16, so this would be 8. Okay, there we go, right? Yeah, so hopefully I'm making sense, right? So if the short side is 4, so this would be 4 and 4, so we can do 24 minus 8, and then divide that by 2, right? Yeah, hopefully you can see very clearly. If this is 8 and 8, 4 and 4, 8 plus 8 plus 4 plus 4 is 24, right? The perimeter matches. And then also, you know, 8 times 4, hopefully everyone knows that 8 times 4 is 32. Perfect, right? Answer is J. Yeah, like these intuitive solutions working backwards on the answer is very, very nice. Yeah, definitely, like, be ready to do this type of thing, right? But of course, this one's easy enough where most of you can just do it algebraically, right? Which, definitely, if you can do the algebra, obviously the superior technique. The superior technique here is LW equals 32, 2L plus 2W equals 24, right? And this is the perimeter, this is the area. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, area of a rectangle, length times width. A perimeter of a rectangle, double the length, double the width, add them together. Right. How do I want to solve this? So let's do 2L equals 24 minus 2W. Let's go ahead and solve for L, right? I subtract 2W on both sides. Divide by 2. To get L equals 12 minus W. And here I'll do the substitution. Okay, so I'm going to replace this L with 12 minus W. So 12 minus W times W equals 32. Let's go ahead and do the distribution. So we get 12W minus W squared equals 32. I'm going to move everything to the right side. Set one side of the equation equal to 0. W squared minus 12W plus 32. And here I like already know the answer, so I can like immediately factor it. I know the answer. I guess it's W, not X. Yeah, W equals 4 or 8. But here they specifically ask for the short side, right? Short side is 4. Yeah, so definitely here, negative 4 times negative 8 is 32. Negative 4 plus negative 8 is definitely negative 12, right? Yeah, that's how you factor. You think of the factors of 32. So the factors of 32 would be like what? There's definitely 4 and 8, correct answer. There's 1 and 32, obviously. There's like 2 and 16. There's also like, I think that's it. And then here you need to think about like which one of these numbers add up to negative 24. Well, you know, well, if that's the case, we need to make all the numbers negative. Obviously, this is the correct answer. You can also use like the quadratic formula. Yeah, definitely there's like a million different ways to solve any given math problem, right? You know, like maybe for the earlier ones, maybe there's around like 10,000 ways to solve any given problem. And the reason why math is hard is because even though there's 10,000 ways to solve something, there's like 10 million ways to get them wrong, right? Just you have to make sure you're doing it correctly. Here, absolutely, you can do the algebra, get the area equation, get the perimeter equation, do the substitution, learn to factor. You can also learn the quadratic formula, opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Yeah, go ahead and plug these in, right? So here a would be 1, b would be negative 12, c would be 32. Definitely you're going to get the same numbers if you go ahead and follow the equation, but definitely factoring, not a, pretty nice, yeah, definitely. But if this is too hard, right? Yeah, again, stay confident, stay resolute, use your calculator, work backwards from the answers, right? Yeah, so even if you know how to do the algebra, it can eat up a lot of time. Maybe here, it's just better to just work backwards from the answers, right? You draw the picture. Like if this side's 4, that means that this side is 4. What are the other sides, right? So you do 24 minus 8, that's 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8, so this is 8 and 8. So this definitely adds up to 24. 8 times 4 is 32. J is definitely the correct answer, right? And like, don't be afraid to make the wrong guess, right? So here earlier on, I just like eyeballed it. Maybe it's 3. I tried 3, it didn't work. Yeah, 3 and 3. That would be 6, 18. This would be 9 and 9. Close, but not quite, right? So here the perimeter is 24, but the area here is 27. Doesn't fit the description. I'm looking for 32. It must be J. And then here, why is it not 8? Well, it's because they asked for the short one. They asked for the short one. Any questions here? Let's see. I didn't check my answers. There's like a huge chance that like I just typed in the wrong letter, but I'm gonna risk it, right? Risk it all. Just check it. AFEJCKEHAJ, nice. Nice. I'm on it today. Yeah, hopefully you guys had a good weekend. And I'm noticing that kids are leaving. This is not the class that you guys were looking for. Unfortunate. Yeah. Not serious enough? Too boring? I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. They had something to do, right? Yeah, they'll be here tomorrow. And definitely, the last thing kids want to hear is like grind your algebra and your fraction arithmetic. But it is what it is, man. Like, if that's what you need, that's what you gotta do. Especially in the math test. I feel like there are a couple shortcuts, right? Yeah, definitely you can, like, again, I would say the big one is working backwards from the answers using your calculator, right? But I would say otherwise, it really just comes down to grinding out your math. Like, I would say more than the other sections, right? It definitely, the other sections, English, reading, science, like if you watch other people do it and definitely build your understanding, learn this stuff, listen to people talk about it, you can improve your score that way, right? But I would say the math section is one place where absolutely listening to other people practice it is not going to help you. Yeah, like math is one of those things where it's more like, riding a bicycle, right? Like if you want to learn how to ride a bicycle, the way to learn it is not to watch YouTube videos or like, something cooler like skateboarding. If you want to learn to skateboard, hopefully you guys realize watching 10,000 hours worth of YouTube videos of people skateboarding is not going to help you. Yeah, until you step on that skateboard yourself, you feel like how hard it is on your ankles. You feel like how much the asphalt hurts when you fall, right? Yeah, until you know these things, like you're never gonna know how to skateboard. Math is kind of the same way. Like no matter how much you listen to other people talk about math, your math is not going to improve. The way your math improves is, definitely there's some key concepts, right? Maybe you need to know what function notation is, all that stuff. Definitely can explain that stuff to you. But at the end of the day, the knowledge is not enough in the math section. More important than knowledge is the execution, for sure. And let's go ahead and practice that now, right? Let's jump back into the December 2020 test. And definitely, for all of you still here, I really, really appreciate you guys taking time out of the summer, early in the morning, studying the ACT. You've already, you guys have, the 9 of you have already demonstrated to me that you're serious about your education, right? Definitely. I hope that in these next 5 days, we can improve your score, show everyone that you're dedicated to your academics, you're ready to go to college. We're back in the 2020 December ACT. We're looking at page 15 of 55, question 1, which of the following expressions is equivalent to this, right? Yeah, go ahead and do that algebra, right? Yeah, distribute, simplify, match. Word problems, definitely if you struggle with word problems, we'll just practice that non-stop, right? Yeah, we have some percentages. You definitely don't be afraid to draw your own diagrams, right? Yeah, so here they ask for the midpoint between RS. Where's the midpoint between RS? It's right here, right? Yeah, once you put the dot in, draw your own line, RST 818, midpoints right here. Yeah, once you visualize it, it becomes so simple. Use the figures, work backwards from the answers, use your calculator. Definitely these are the tips that improve kids' math scores immediately. Definitely once you get to that point, then you need to start grinding your math just straightforward, right? Definitely feel free to ask questions. Again, I don't need you guys to like get every single question correct, right? Just if you do make mistakes, let's go over it together. Let's figure out what's going wrong. Let's improve one step at a time. Yeah, one thing. Yeah, lots of kids miss 9. Let me quickly explain the difference between census, experiment, and survey. A census is where you survey literally every person in the population. Yeah, so in America, there's a census every 20 years. They literally mail a document to every person in the United States, and they have to fill out like what's your race, how many people are in your family, how much money do you make, blah 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 blah, and then you send it back, and then they tally up all the data. That's a census, right? A survey is when you send that. You only ask the questions to a certain number of people. Yeah, so for something to be a census, you have to literally ask everyone. A survey, you can ask like 1 out of 10 people, 1 out of 100 people, 1 out of 1,000 people. It's fine. Just some proportion of the population. An experiment is very different, right? An experiment is where you like, you give one kid's cookies, you give the other kids salads, and see like how they feel later on during the day. That would be an experiment. Hopefully that makes sense. Stay confident. I would say the other thing is like you have to stay resolute. I would say for the vast majority of students, if you want to, like, let's say that you're at like a 20 in the ACT, right? And you want like a 25. Here's what it's going to take to get you from a 20 to a 25. Really, the thing that you need at that level is just confidence, diligence. You need to be resolute. Why? What am I saying, right? Yeah, so for the vast majority of students, yeah, they run to a question that they don't understand, right? Like let's say like 34. 34 maybe looks a little tough, or maybe like, yeah, this one, 36, looks really, really complicated, right? Here, actually, let me show you how easy 36 is, and this is why you need to have your calculator, right? So most kids, when they see 36, they just give up, right? And what are they thinking? They're thinking, oh God, I hate math. I'm so bad at the ACT. I just want to be at home sleeping, right? As long as you're not thinking that, I promise you you're going to do better than the average student. Why? Because the average student is ready to give up. They've already given up at 36. Don't give up. Stay resolute. Try your best. Work backwards from the questions. Work backwards from the answers. Use the pictures. Use your calculator. I promise you can get to a 25, just if you have the correct mentality. And here, let me just show you how easy this one is, right? The calculator has an I button. Yeah, so they ask you what is 7 plus 6i squared. You hit parentheses. You hit 7, you hit plus. You hit 6, then you hit second decimal. The I button's down here, right? And then you square it. Free. The answer is H. Have the calculator do it, right? Yeah, for sure, for sure. Just ask the calculator for the question 36. Absolutely. All right, page 15 of 55. Question 1, which expression is equivalent? ACT. This is why they pay me the big bucks. All right, let's get the timer. 10 minutes on the clock. Yeah, definitely, if you finish early, double check your answers, right? If you double check your answers, you still have time left over. Just do questions 11 through 20. Yeah, keep working, keep working. Yeah, imagine those kids that left, right? Yeah, like, yeah, I'm gonna save all my tips for the final minutes of the class, for sure. God. 10 minutes on the clock, paper, pencil, calculator, ready to go. Can I get a ready in the chat? Brilliant. 10 minutes on the clock, I'll give you a 2-minute warning. Let's begin.
Let's take a lost or flew. We're waiting around is the ways and counting the days is November. Loving is good as they say. Now I'm so lonely. Oh, I wish I find a love that could help me. Now I'm crying in my room, so skeptical, but still I wanted more, more, more. I gave a second chance to Cupid, but now I'm left here feeling stupid. All the way he makes me feel that love isn't real. Cupid is so dumb. Hopeless girl seeking someone who will share this feeling. I'm a fool for love, a fool for love. I give a second chance to Cupid, but now I'm left here feeling stupid. All the way he makes me feel that love isn't real. Cupid is so dumb. I give a second chance to Cupid, but now I'm left here feeling stupid. All the way he makes me feel that love isn't real. Cupid is so dumb. 이 노래는 it's about you, baby. Only you. You. 내가 힘들 때, 울 것 같을 때, 기운도 이제 나지 않을 때. It's you. 날 걱정하니. It's you. 날 웃게 하니. 말은 해도 돼, but what do you say? 멀리든 언제든지 달려와. 바쁜 척도 없이 난 나타나. 이게 말이 되니 난 물어봐. 너는 말야, he's the one that's living in my system, baby. Oh my god, yes or not. I was really hoping that he will come through. Oh my god, 단 너뿐이야. Asking all the time about what I should do. No, I can never let him go. 너만 생각나 24. 넌 행운 아야 정말로. I know. 널 알기 전까지는 마음이 없었어. 전부 다 내 맘이 끝이 없는 걸. I know. I'm going crazy, right? 어디서 돼? 몇 번?
2 minutes left.
Daring the guns that I would hold on to. I hear his words through all the nights. 잠시라도 내 손 놓지마, no. 걱정 없잖아, 'cause I got someone. 혼자라도 괜찮아, 'cause I love someone. Give me who is he? 멀리든 언제든지 달려와. Give me who is he? 바쁜 척도 없이 넌 나타나. Give me who is he? 이게 말이 되니 난 물어봐. Give me who is he? 너는 말이야, he's the one that's living in my system, baby. Oh my god, yes or not. I was really hoping that he will come through. Oh my god, 단 너뿐이야. Asking all the time about what I should do. No, I can never let him go. 너만 생각나 24. 넌 행운 아야 정말로. I know. 널 알기 전까지는 마음이 없었어. 전부 다 내 맘이 끝이 없는 걸. I know. Just living in my system, baby.
right, 10 minutes is up. Yeah, again, please do not leave any questions blank. Yeah, no penalties for incorrect answers. Yeah, worst case scenario, you have a 20% chance of getting the answer correct in the math test. Let's go over the answers here together. Questions 1 through 10. Math test. Starting from 1, we have E. 2 is K. 3 is D dog. 4, J. 5A. 6 is J. 7 is B boy. 8, J. 9, E. 10 is K. Yeah, definitely let me know if you missed any of these questions here. Let's go over them together. Again, thank you guys so much for being here, taking time out of your summer, waking up early to study the ACT. Really appreciate you guys. Everyone's getting all 10 correct? I mean, definitely. That's what I want, for sure. You got them all. Amazing. Yo, you guys should be teaching this class, right? Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Okay, you got 9 wrong? Okay, let's go over them. Let's start with 9. Yeah, again, I would keep track of the questions that you're missing, right? Take a look at them again later today. Take a look at them tomorrow. Make sure absolutely you understand it later, right? Tomorrow, next week, the week before the ACT, for real. Absolutely make sure this stuff's making sense. Question 9, the principal of Lowell High School, LHS, authorized the study to estimate the percentage of LHS students in a population that will attend a 4-year college after graduation. LHS students in honors courses were asked about their post-graduation plans, and their responses were recorded. Students in other courses were not included in the study. Which one of the following phrases best describes the principal's study? So here, hopefully everyone can tell that this is a survey, right? We did not ask everyone in the school, so this is not a census. And then here it comes down to randomized versus non-randomized. This one's absolutely not randomized. Why? It's not random. He's asking kids in the honors classes. Does that make sense? Yeah, pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, like I like going over these questions because like once you see the answer, it's just so obvious. You definitely remember this stuff for the future, right? Yeah, take a look at it again. Yeah, later today, tomorrow, next week, right? Make sure it still makes sense. 5 and 7. Okay, 5 is a really good one to go over. So you see this type of question a lot in the ACT, right? And here, for me personally, I just like making the diagram. Sometimes I'll have like, you know, red buttons, green buttons, blue triangles, whatever. Here we have juniors and seniors, right? Yeah, so what am I gonna do? I'm literally just doing 9 juniors, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 juniors. And there's 11 seniors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. 10, 11, right? 10, 11. Okay, and we're gonna randomly select 2 people. The first member selected is a senior. Okay, so we selected this person, right? And the other thing that you need to realize is that you cannot pick the same person twice. Like, if you're gonna pick 2 people to be representatives, you can't pick the same person twice, right? That doesn't make sense. So here you have to realize, now we're going to pick the second person. We're going to choose the second person out of this set of people, right? How many people do we have total? Well, this is 9. This is 9. That's 18. There's 19 people to choose from now, right? What is the probability that out of those 19 people that we have a junior? Well, there's 9 juniors, so it's 9 out of 19. It's tempting to pick B because there's 20 people total, but you have to remember we cannot choose the same person twice. Does that make sense? Yeah, like if you write it out this way, it's just so obvious, right? Yeah, there's 9, 18, there's 20 people total, but you know, for the second person, we only have 19 people to choose from. That's the key here. Makes sense? Makes sense? And then 7. Okay. And here, yeah, if you missed this one, I highly suggest just working backwards from the answers, right? Yeah, so here we have 8 wins, 5 losses, 0 ties. What is the least number of the 10 remaining games that the team must win to finish the season winning more than 50% of all the team's games, right? Yeah, so here, yeah, they've played 13 games so far, right? 8 plus 5 is 13, and they're going to play 10 more games, so that's 23 total for the season. 23 total for the season. But we have 8 wins already. And here, just feel free to start from A, right? Yeah, so if we win 3 more games, how many games is that? Like, hopefully you know that's 11. Is this more than half? Hopefully you can tell them no, that's not correct. Yeah, that's less than half. What if we win 4 games though? Well, that's definitely 12. If we win 12 games out of 23, that's definitely over half. Yeah, 52% is over half. B, correct answer. Definitely you can calculate, right? So if we have 23 games total, we need to win how many games total? 12, right? 12 would be more than half of 23. Well, if we have 8 wins already, then we just need to win 4 more games. But definitely don't be afraid to work backwards from the answers like this, right? Very, very simple. Good. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, this stuff's so easy, right? Yeah, once you see the answer, it's so easy. Definitely. The other thing I'll say is like it's easy to brush off this stuff as like simple mistakes, silly mistakes. Yeah, but I would say a huge part of this test is figuring out what it's going to take to eliminate these silly mistakes, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, in a timed environment, you're forced to work quickly. Yeah, people are going to make mistakes, right? You just need to figure out like what do I need to do to work quickly and not make mistakes. Obviously not easy, but that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You definitely want to. If you run into concepts that you're not familiar with, take some notes, write it down. Yeah, for these types of questions, once you see it, it's so easy, right? You can work backwards from the answers. You need to recognize that there's 23 games total, and once you realize that, maybe you can see I need 12 wins, right? Yeah, half of 24 would be 12, so 12 out of 23 would definitely be more than half. 4 plus 8 is 12. Yeah, if anybody missed 6, these are so simple, right? Yeah, so we need something that's a common multiple of these numbers, but the smallest one, right? So obviously it's not going to be 60. It's not going to be 220, because 220 is not divisible by 70. We need a number that's divisible by all 3 of these numbers, but we want the smallest one. How about 630? 630 is divisible by 70, right? It's also divisible by 90, I think. The question is it divisible by 60? Yeah, this is definitely divisible by 90. This is going to be 60? No, 7, excuse me. Maybe this one's not divisible by 60, right? Yeah, it's definitely not divisible by 60, right? 600 is divisible by 60. 660 is divisible by 60. 630 is absolutely not divisible by 60. It must be J, right? Yeah, K is too easy, right? Like you just multiply the 3 numbers together to get K. It has to be J here. But here, like really, this is the optimal method to solve the problem, and definitely hopefully you guys will realize this soon for yourself, right? Yeah, for a lot of the questions in the ACT, this is the optimal strategy. Just work backwards from the answers. Yeah, J, correct answer. Let's see, we have a couple more minutes left. Let's see. Yeah, definitely learn how to use I, right? So sometimes, and the other thing is like sometimes they'll ask you to combine the I button and the fraction button at the same time, right? So sometimes you'll get something like, I don't know, let's make up something. So like 5 minus 9 I divided by, and again, make sure you're using the parentheses properly, and they'll have like 3 plus 7i, something like this, right? Something a little bit harder than before, but again, the calculator can still handle it. But you run into this scenario sometimes, right? Oh my god, this is not how the ACT is going to give the answer. Don't worry, the calculator can still handle it. You hit math, fraction, there you go. So free, so free. And then, yeah, a couple kids were asking about the geometry. Let's try a couple of these, right? Yeah, actually, let's talk about the triangle problems. Yeah, so definitely, I would say there's 3 main types of triangle problems in the ACT. I would say you have the similar triangles. Yeah, similar triangles, you definitely recognize similar triangles, right? Sometimes they'll just tell you that they're similar. Sometimes you have to recognize that they're similar. So a lot of times you see triangles like this. Yeah, in this setup, they're definitely similar triangles. They'll tell you that like these 2 lines are parallel, right? These are absolutely similar. Sometimes they'll have like, this scenario is also very common. They have a right triangle and they cut it here. This is also similar. Yeah, sometimes you get a slightly harder one. Yeah, so they'll have like a right triangle like this. This one's the right angle, and then they say this one goes down to create a right angle here. These are also similar triangles. So in this situation, this one's similar to the bigger one. The middle one's also similar to the other 2. The other triangle problem that comes up very, very often is the isosceles triangle problem. Yeah, so the isosceles triangle, that's right here in 48. You need to recognize that this side is the same length as this side. How do I know that? Well, these are both radiuses of the circle, right? Yeah, so since P to T is a radius, P to S is a radius, definitely this is an isosceles triangle. Obviously, the 2 lengths of the isosceles triangle are the same, but the other thing that's very, very important in isosceles triangles is that not only are the lengths the same, the angles are the same. So this one's also 30 degrees. This one's 30 degrees. This one's also 30 degrees. How do I know that? It's because it is an isosceles triangle. So if I know that this is 30 and 30, what is this? I know that the 3 angles in a triangle have to add up to 180. Let's read the question, right? In the circle shown, chords TR, chord is like the diameter, No, chord actually means like the connection between any 2 points, but this one happens to be the diameter because it goes through the center P. QS intersects P, which is the center of the circle. The measure of P angle PST, this one, is 30. What is the measure of the minor arc RS? So they want this angle over here, right? That's the question. And so here, this one's 30, this one's 30. So we want 180 minus 60, right? 30 plus 30 is 60. This one must be 120. This angle is 120. That must mean that this one is 60, right? Because these two angles have to add up to 180. 120 plus 60 is 180 for H. Yeah, very, very common question type in the ACT. Yeah, definitely, they try really hard to hide it, right? Yeah, sometimes it's the difficult part is to recognize when you have an isosceles triangle, but this is also a very common setup. Yeah, they'll show you like two radiuses in a circle. You need to recognize that in a circle, the radius is always the same distance. Therefore, this is an isosceles triangle. Therefore, this is 30 degrees. That means this is 120. That means this is 60. Correct answer, H, right? Let's try another one. Another geometry problem right here. Maybe after this one, we'll call it a day. 47 in the figures below. AB is parallel to CD. Sounds great. AB bisects BAC. Okay, so this is a really important term to know for the ACT. Bisects an angle. What does it mean to bisect an angle? That means to cut the angle in half. Okay? And CE bisects ACD. If the measure of BAC is 82, so BAC, this angle is 82. 82. Okay, so this one gets bisected, right? So if it gets bisected, that means this one is 41. Okay, this one's also 41 over here. What are they asking for? AEC. They want this one. Okay. Okay, a little tough, but definitely, hopefully you can imagine this scenario, right? Let me just extend all the lines a little bit. So if this one is 82, hopefully you recognize that this one is also 82, right? This one's also 82 because they're alternating interior angles. This one's also 82 over here as well. If this is 82, that must mean that this angle is 98. 98 plus 82 is 180, right? Yeah, this is a straight line. Let me just double check my arithmetic really quick. 180 minus 82. 98, absolutely. But here, they're not asking for 98. What are they asking for? AEC. Okay, how do we solve for this one, though? Well, you have to remember that this angle is also being bisected. That means that this angle inside the triangle is 49. Lots of steps, right? Lots of steps. So this one's 49. It's like a puzzle. Okay, so this is 82. That means that these are 41 each. That also means that this one's 82. If this one's 82, this one's 98. If this is 98, it's getting cut in half. This one's 49. So we have 41, 49. Now we can solve for this one. We're looking for 180 minus 41 minus 49. Can I do that in my head? It's going to be like 80. It's 90. Off by 10. It's 90. It's definitely not 80. It's not even one of the answer choices. Answer C. All right. Yeah, definitely. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I'll definitely upload this video before our class tomorrow morning. We're probably going to focus on just the science section tomorrow. You definitely went over some of the easier questions. Yeah. Let's also go over the hard questions as well. Right. Definitely, this class is going to move very quickly. Hopefully, you're taking notes. Hopefully, you're feeling good. Definitely, I hope you guys are feeling more confident. Hopefully, by the end of Friday, you guys will see some huge jumps to your score. That's the goal. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.